Okay, so I've gone back over the last 10 years of the exam papers and looked at the four areas we've studied 1832. So the most popular question for 1832 was why, then what the impact was, and then what the impact was on the parties. So what I would do in your situation is look through each area and look at particularly and just bullet point what those key answers are, and I'm going to do another clip about that later on. So it's two questions. The first question is the ACE question, about 25 minutes in the exam. So the key things here you must analyse. So what type of source was it? You must cross-reference, you must evaluate, which means picking out and giving more knowledge about something that's in the source. So for example, if Earl Grey was in the source, Earl Grey became leader of the Whig Party and pushed for reform in 1832. The B question is harder, it's worth 40 marks, and I'd spend about 50 minutes, 55 minutes on this question. The key difference is knowledge. You must still analyse, cross-reference, evaluate, but also using your own knowledge. Again, I've looked back through the exam papers, the types of sources in order here that they've used. So this is a cartoon. Now cartoons are interesting. They're using humour to make serious points about very controversial issues. So this is about the Israeli conflict. So things are not normally exaggerated. Things are normally around a very sensitive subject, and what you need to do is really infer the meaning from this. So I think the meaning from this source is the soldier looks like he's had a very traumatic experience. The child on the floor, his son, is learning from that experience by the use of violence. The second is a speech. Basically, speeches are rehearsed, practice, written in advance to an invited audience. So while useful, also we have to be slightly wary of them. A letter is between two people, private. However, people were still quite reticent to write things down, particularly their personal thoughts. They'd probably do that in a diary. Diaries are excellent to help how people felt. However, it's only from one person's point of view. So, for example, if somebody was in Nottingham and they were during the Chartist riots, they wouldn't really know what was going on in the rest of the country. Poem is about love, and they've used this before with Fergus O'Connor. So the person writing a poem about Fergus O'Connor would generally love and support that person. Textbook, excellent source. It's a secondary source. It doesn't really show the emotion of the time. However, what it does do is it gives a very balanced view about what is going on. Biography, generally this is a biography of Anne Frank. Generally the person writing the biography will like that person. Newspapers, Times is Conservative, the Northern Star is a Chartist newspaper. Regional newspapers were very important because they were much more favouring reform, and they were run by those middle class people. Let's go back to the ACE question then. So you may have a cartoon source like this. So it's a cartoon. What is it showing? It's showing that reform is in the balance on a seesaw. Earl Grey on the left is winning the battle, or the seesaw battle, but only because John Bull is helping him, and you need to include there about the Days of May, the BPU, how the British public helping Earl Grey win that battle. On the right hand side is the Duke of Wellington, who brought through Catholic emancipation and was didn't want any reform at all. And in the balance, or should have been in the balance, is the King there, and he was the guy who eventually appointed those Liberal peers. So make sure you analyse that source as much as you possibly can. It was made at the time, it was relevant, that's what people felt.